Hello. Welcome to Sometimes Videogames. This is a podcast where sometimes we talk about video games. Sometimes we don't. How are you? I am here, as per usual, with my wonderful co-host, Charlie Walsh. How are you today?
I'm fine, thank you. How are you?
Yeah, okay, I'm okay. I've gotten over. So, I mean, if you know us, I had a bit of foot trouble over the last week, and I was
You
in a
did.
lot of pain. It's now. I'm not gonna say gone. I'm not gonna I'm not gonna put
Your foot's
myself
gone.
my foot's gone. I'm not gonna say the pain's disappeared entirely. I'm just gonna say that it's a lot better and I can walk now.
I mean, that's a positive. I mean, being able to walk generally a positive.
It is a positive, yes. Also, we've got a couple of guests on the show today. If you don't notice from the images present, you might not be listening. You might not be watching. You might be listening. I don't know. We have first of all joining us James Michael Parry. Hello, how are you?
Hello. Good evening, afternoon, morning, or other time of day.
Could be another time. I don't know what time of day it is. It's evening for us. It's after night.
But then again, they could be listening at any time as well. So it's just
Yes,
what a world.
it is. It's a fantastic. Well, why don't you tell people a bit about yourself, please, James?
Sure. So, hi everyone. I am editor, owner, setter upper of a little website called Pass the Controller. We do, gamey things, and yeah, I've been kind of doing that for about 5 years or so, something like that, I guess.
It's quite a bit. It's quite a bit. 5 years.
Hmm.
Been in the world. We got to ask you the most important question first. What are your top 3 fruits, James?
Oh, I mean, I've got historically a really kind of non-friendly relationship with fruit, not from any particular reason.
You're
not
not
like
friendly.
I've got some
They
ridiculous
killed your
allergy.
parents.
Yeah, exactly. But I think probably the mainstays for me definitely a banana for sure. Definitely head way back into even school days, have had that in packed lunches and stuff like that. So that's
Yes.
that's definitely, it's made its mark. It's proved itself.
Over the years.
Otherwise, apples and probably grapes. Mostly green grapes. I can deal with a red grape, but I'm more of a green grape man.
Grapes are very. I have an interesting fact about grapes that you may not know. Only because my previous housemate was a type 1 diabetic. And so she told me that grapes have as much sugar as a can of Coke. Like a small amount of grapes have as much sugar.
That sounds very likely because they are pretty damn sweet.
They're incredibly sweet. But I was a bit blown away by that. I was like, what?
I mean, the benefit is that I don't drink Coke, so I'm making my sugar tax back myself.
It's good.
See, whereas I drink both and eat grapes at the exact same time.
You drink grapes?
So, oh yeah. Crush them up, blend them. Other such things.
Well,
such techniques.
This is not so I assume drinking grapes is not so unusual for our next guest, who's Cristina Alexander, from America. How are you?
Good. I'm actually, well, yes, I'm in America and I live in South Florida where it is 3:45 in the afternoon.
It is. It's 8:45 for us in the evening. It's 3:45 for you. Do you drink grape? I know that in America they have like grape soda and stuff, don't they? We don't have that in here.
I drink grape juice on occasion, but not grape soda because I tend to stay away from like carbonated drinks.
Very sensible.
And when I say carbonated drinks, I mean like soda. But but when I do drink soda, it's Sprite or Ramune, which its sugar is very short on.
That's the Japanese one, right? They do sell that in the world food section of some of our supermarkets here. The Ramune. It's got like a marble in the top. It's got like a marble in the top or something, hasn't it? You've got to.
Yeah, it's got a marble in the top that you have to push down so that you could drink from it.
Yeah, it's so weird.
And the marble serves as like a stopgap so that you don't like drink so much at a time.
Is that what it does? I was a bit confused. I guess that is what it does. I had one, and I was like, this is so weird that there's a marble in it. Because you don't typically... Like, our drinks don't typically have that sort of stuff in it. Like, any Western drinks that I know of. Like, it's just a marble. Like, what's it doing there?
We have boba tea, I guess. That's the closest thing you're going to get.
Yeah, but you drink the balls, but the boba, that's not got marbles in it. That's just tapioca.
I don't know what they are, bro. They scare me. I don't know what they are.
Boba
I can't think of anything with marbles, but you get some like alcohols that have like what's the Italian one? It's not. It doesn't have like an olive in it, but it has something in it, doesn't it? It's really, really strong.
What? I don't know.
You said that as if there is no conceivable way that could be true.
I know. I'm saying that as in, are we still talking about marbles?
No.
That's right. So I didn't know how we got there.
Yeah, any wine with olives in it might be way too bitter because I don't like olives to begin with.
Yeah, I'm not a fan
I
of olives.
do like Merlot and Rosé myself, and it just so happens I just come back from Disney World from the Food and Wine Festival at Epcot, and they served like a shit ton of wine.
Really?
Nice.
And beer, which my boyfriend loves.
How do they market that? Is there like a big stall that's just like, on the board it says 1 glass or shit ton?
And the menu for the food and wine changes every year. Like when I went for the first time, like 4 years ago, I tasted like Snow Shadow sake from the Japan Pavilion.
What?
And no, I'm dead serious. Like the Snow Shadow sake, it just looks like water because you know it's invisible. It's just invisible wine. I take a sip of it, and I'm like, oh my god, that is the most bitter sake I've ever tasted in my damn life.
Oh my god.
Wow.
I only went to... We have a chain of restaurants here in England called Wagamama's. And that's the first time I had sake. And it was hot sake, and it came in this little jug that sort of like poured itself. It was so interesting. But then my friend had some, and she was like, "Oh, this is hot." Like her face like screwed up as if it was like
she turned into some sort of monster.
Yeah, she was like, "Oh no, don't like this." So I was like, "It's just sake, right?" It was quite nice.
And this year they didn't have the Snow Shadow sake. Thank God. They had the Ozeki Platinum Sake, which has like a fruity flavor to it, and it tasted like so much better.
Wow.
I was relieved.
I've never had fruity sake before. The sake that I had is typically, I guess, cheap. Right.
Well, this particular sake, and I'm reading from the Food and Wine Fest passport here, has Junmai Daiginjo, refreshingly dry with a fruity flavor.
That sounds nice.
Yeah.
Sounds good.
I'm definitely missing out.
I
think
I've got to go to Disney.
I haven't even had Wagamama's level sake, let alone Epcot, fruits of the world type sake. So
that must be good. So we unfortunately we covered it before the podcast. But Cristina, cover your top 3 fruits again, please, for us.
All right. So my top 3 fruits are an apple, because an apple a day keeps the doctor away, and that's on me growing up with a family of doctors.
Well, oh wow, very literal.
You wanted to keep them away.
Yeah, I was going to say that's not going to be very effective, right? Because they still stuck around. Or did you have to leave?
I'm sorry?
Whenever you had an apple, you had to leave because there were so many doctors.
Well, actually, no. It's not that literal at all. My brother's a physician's assistant, my stepdad's a pharmacist, and my mom was a pharmacy tech. She's retired.
Wow.
But anyway, number 2 is a banana, because that kind of gives me a lot of energy in the morning. And number 3 would be strawberries, blueberries, and blackberries. A whole assortment of berries.
All the berries as number 3. Yeah, it was. So
it's a good time. It's a good time for you over here because it's like berry season at the moment. They're literally on the side in the bushes on the side of the road.
What berries grow on the side of the road near you?
Well, not literally. Well, maybe literally. I mean, yeah, it's blackberries normally, particularly blackberries. We've got all over the shop around here.
Yeah, there's even some in the middle of where I am, and that's London. Even a couple here.
You just have blackberries growing in London.
They're mostly pollution, though.
I was going to say I wouldn't eat them because they are probably polluted as to all heck.
Yeah.
But at the same time, they do exist. They are there. I look at them, I go, oh, berry. But I don't.
Oh, berry.
Like very good.
Oh.
Yes. Yes, exactly. Thank you very much.
Exactly.
Mate, I'm happy. We could just end the show now. I'm good now.
We peaked pretty early. Yeah.
We've peaked early enough. Yeah, this is. You know, it takes us a while to get to these levels of japery. Normally.
Coming hot.
If japery is the right
That sounds really like 1940s, like a kind of a real cartoon caper, you know.
I think that's what we would typically call our. Yeah, I think our channel is typically full of cartoon capers, right?
I mean, I guess.
Maybe. I don't know.
I guess you could say that, I guess.
You could potentially say that.
You could put it out there.
I mean, you can say anything. That's the beauty of it.
You can say.
That's the wonder of it.
We're free to say whatever it is that we want. How's everyone's day been? Has everyone had a nice day? We're good. Good.
Yeah, not too bad. Not too bad.
Good. I'm glad.
I've been doing a bit of DIY, finishing off a bit of DIY, you know, painting and stuff like that in the bathroom.
What have you been painting? What the bathroom itself, or?
Not the bath itself, but the walls and ceiling of said bathroom.
What's given the change? Have you got a new bathroom, or?
Well, basically, it was looking a little bit tired. It's okay. But there was a few parts of the wall that were suffering a little bit from water damage because I think when they put the house together, they painted it all up at the end, and they were like, this bathroom, which is a very wet room, doesn't need different paint or anything. Let's just paint it the same as everywhere else. And then over time, the shower and everything just got into the paint, and it just started to chip away at it. So it was looking need a little bit of love. Looking
a little rough, I guess. Oh, that's not good. It's not good at all.
But you know, crisis averted. It's looking a lot better now, so that's good.
That's good. What were you up to today, Christina? Anything fun, Cristina?
I wasn't doing any fun stuff today. I work for a news station for a news station in Miami, but I have been working from home for the past year and a half. And quite frankly, it's gotten really droll and
oh dear.
Yeah, it's kind of burned me out to the point where I just want to leave my job there and do freelance journalism full time. And I am already doing that with, writing for The Gamer and recently GamePer. And I actually wrote an article for GamePer about the Sonic 30th anniversary symphony album being available for Apple Music and iTunes, and that it will be released on other music streaming platforms within the next week or so.
I'm excited.
It comes to Spotify real soon.
Yes, I remember seeing, because I didn't actually see the Did you see it, Charlie? Because I remember you saying that I should watch it at some point, and I didn't see it
because it was so good. And I'm not Sonic. Obviously, I grew up playing it because Master System and that, but I've stepped away from it. I don't really play Sonic at all. But just hearing the music is always something that I catch on to because the Sonic music tends to be pretty good regardless of the quality of the game. And so just watching it and hearing all the songs, and they did it really interestingly. It wasn't just, not that this is a bad thing, but it wasn't just a an orchestral selection of songs. They actually had like loads of different variations on genres, and it just kicked. It slapped. Like it was really good. I was shocked by how good it was, especially the second half where they just went weird. I was super here for it.
They went weird. How did they go weird?
But I mean, Christina, did you watch the 30th anniversary concert as well?
I only managed to watch the first half of the concert before I went into work, because I work the evening shift from like 4 to 11.
Makes
And
sense.
the second half I completely missed out on. And
Damn.
I was like watching everybody on my Twitter feed like get excited over Crush 40 singing the Sonic Hero theme song.
Yeah.
And I Am All of Me from Shadow the Hedgehog, while I was like just sitting at my computer at the news station on my news station job, like slaving away at packages and script editing.
Yeah, you missed out, because that second half, I mean, like the first half is good, and then, like I say, it has a lot of orchestral stuff and it's well done. And then the second half, like you say, Crush 40 are playing songs. They weren't afraid to step out and be like, actually, this is just going to be pure rock. This one's going to have like electronic in it. They just vibed their way through it, and I really loved it.
They went all out, and it's like the music is like the crown jewel of every single Sonic game in existence.
Absolutely.
In the last 30 years. And like in the first 10 years, it just starts out with, wait, not the first 10 years, I would say like the first 7 years, it just starts out all like poppy, like and
Careful, we'll get copyright strike.
We're gonna copyright.
And then like when Sonic Adventure burst onto the scene, it just transitioned to like pure rock that like was like with Crush 40 playing songs that you wish you could hear on like rock stations, like Open Your Heart, thunder, rain and lightning, danger, war rising.
So tell me they included City Escape from Sonic Adventure 2.
They can't not, right?
Surely.
Let me take a good look.
That's like the one.
Surely that's the one. I mean, for me.
Like, so they went through it in like game form. So they had like, this is a song from this game, this is a song from this game. I'm fairly certain they did, but I can't remember off the top of my head.
Because like if there's a song from Sonic Adventure 2 on there, it's gonna be City.
It's got to be that one.
I remember going to a retro games night one time in Blackburn, which is near the place I live, and someone was playing it on like a Spotify, and like the whole room was just singing along to it because they were like, it was playing at one point. Like, and this isn't even necessarily like a room of like diehard Sonic fans. It's just a room of people of a certain age.
They got Escape from the City in the soundtrack.
That's it. Nice.
They've got it. Right?
I think that would be an absolute deal breaker for me if that wasn't on there. And I think there was one other. As you say, there's a lot of great music, but another one that really stands out is and I don't know whether they would have done it, to be honest, but the Chemical Plant Zone for Sonic 2.
They've got it.
That's way up there for me, and just that's probably, I think Sonic 2 was my first game ever on the Mega Drive 2.
Sonic Adventure 2 was the first Sonic game for me, and it's the GameCube port, mind you.
Yes, same.
Battle.
That was like the
with Shadow. Yes, Shadow, like, playing a Shadow is great.
I started with Sonic 1. Like Sonic 1 was basically my first ever game. When I was like 3 as well at that time. Like I was such a big Sonic fan when I was 3.
You just had to one up me, didn't you?
I did. No, yeah, I
thought I was doing pretty well way back in like '94 or something like that. Like, that's quite a long time ago, but
it's a bit. I remember having I remember seeing a picture of it. I don't remember it specifically, but when I was younger, I had a cake that was just Sonic's face. I was like, Jesus, I was super into it at that point. But like, I don't know about the 3D. I'm one of those fans, one of those Sonic fans. Was like, I'm not sure about the 3D ones at all. like any of them.
I mean, I think for me, Sonic Adventure 2 Battle, that same GameCube port as well, like the extra stuff that you got in it, like the Chow Garden and other things like that. That it was pretty unprecedented for me in terms of games that I played before. And I think that from that point of view, it does work quite well in terms of the using the 3D in a sensible way. But I mean, it's not. I don't know. It's not like you put it up against, I don't know, your Mario 64 and later games. It's a different kind of game. Like,
it
Sonic's
is a
always
different
been a different kind of game.
Right? It's not like it's hard to compare to Mario 64, especially because like Sonic Adventure's easier to compare to Mario 64 because they both exist in a hub world and stuff. But like, there's a lot of differences in that. Like, the Sonic idea is trying to take things to a sort of, I guess, a speed level more than a
gotta go fast
platforming level. Yeah, I guess I don't know if I agree with that. What I just said, to be fair, I don't know. I'm kind of thinking it does make there's an emphasis on speed, but I don't think there is that much of an emphasis on speed in Sonic. Like, it is, you get to that emphasis on speed, but like, there are ways to play it slower.
Especially in the 3D bit, in the 3D ones especially, there are sections where it's like you get back to that feeling that you had in the 2Ds, where you go through a checkpoint or whatever, and then it's just it's almost playing itself, but it's like so quick for a few seconds, and then you're stopping again or whatever. That it definitely hits, again, going back to Adventure 2 Battle. I think that definitely hits that note, but I'm not sure past that. I didn't play like Unleashed. I know that was a bit divisive.
I played the demo for Unleashed, which had the daytime level in it, and the daytime level was really good. I didn't play the nighttime level, and I heard it was so he turns into a werehog. I think that's the name the name they use, and I know that he does that at nighttime. I didn't play any of the nighttime levels, so I don't know.
Yeah, he turns into like a werewolf that's kind of like taking on like kind of like Teen Wolf. He's like part times Teen Wolf, part times Mr. Fantastic, because
he stretches, doesn't he?
Oh yeah,
like elastic arms.
Yeah, I forgot that. I forgot that he was a bit stretchy in that one.
A well-known attribute of the werewolf kind in general, stretchy limbs.
Yeah. Sonic's had an interesting career.
I think considering the amount of good games that there are for Sonic, it's a lot more weighted in the kind of the earlier days than the latter days. I think from the you always get the comparison like Mario versus Sonic and stuff, because they're the mascots, but
like has like a bias towards the classic Sonic games, and we do not have that much appreciation for the modern Sonic games, especially after like Sonic 06.
Sonic 06, I mean, obviously the reputation precedes itself for Sonic 06. It came, unfortunately, quite broken as a game. Like, I know a few people who like Sonic 06 and go, like, if Sonic 06 was finished, I think it sort of launched unfinished in ways. Like, there were a lot of bugs in those games that, if they weren't there, people would have received it a bit better.
It came out at the worst possible time. I mean, there were the dev team, which got split in half to work on that and Sonic and the Secret Rings.
Yeah.
If you remember. Not to mention Yuji Naka leaving Sonic Team on top of that.
Yeah.
Like,
wow. That's a lot.
The dev team working on 06, they were like they were getting crunched to finish it by the time the Xbox 360 and PlayStation 3 came out. And on that day, I remember, because I was in like 6th grade, which is hell if you're a Sonic fan, and autistic, not to mention. Like, I remember that in the days leading up to the release of the game, and on release day, like, a lot of kids would come to me and yell out, "Sonic sucks," or "Sonic's gay," not knowing what
kids
it meant.
are the worst.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was really bad. Like I didn't really know how bad Sonic 06 was until like much later when I would like go on Google and find find a headline saying something to the effect, "Oh, Sonic died," or not
sure.
in game, but like died as in like
The franchises,
like the franchise is dead.
Is that historically, like Sonic Team as a, I guess, studio or a team within Sega, like they were absolutely, revered, weren't they? Like I remember when I was back in secondary school, probably time, I guess, at this point, but like the sort of when we heard that there was a game coming out and it was being put together by that team, it immediately elevated the excitement, because they didn't just do Sonic stuff, obviously.
Yeah, because they've got a few other things under their belt, I think, at that point. I don't know, like the GameCube era, so there's like Super Monkey Ball as well, wasn't there, at that time?
And it's coming back.
Billy Hatcher? Yeah, Super Monkey Ball's coming back.
I'm actually really excited about that. Kind of slightly irrationally, I think. I feel like I probably won't need to play it like straight away, but there's so many memories tied into that game, like from a party mode kind of party game point of view. It's a really great couch co-op kind of one.
It really is. Also, the guests, like Super Monkey Ball is trying to turn itself into Smash now or something, right? It's got
that's right. They've
Hello
gone guest
Kitty
mad,
and
haven't they?
Kazuma Kiryu and Morgana from Persona. I'm just like, what's going on here now? What's someone from Monster Ranch, isn't it? Monster Rancher of all things. Like, when did that come back? I was so confused.
They put Hello Kitty inside the ball.
It seems almost cruel.
Yeah, and since they're like putting in like characters from other Sega franchises, I was like thinking, oh, they should put Knights in a ball. But then I realized Knights does not want to be confined to anything.
No. I wanted Billy Hatcher. I thought Billy Hatcher in a little egg would be cool. Like an egg ball.
But no, they had to put him inside a ball.
Yeah.
I mean, it's the same as him like rolling around in an egg, but it's just a lot smoother and rounder.
Exactly. I'm surprised that they got so many guests in though. But it's like the Sonic and All Stars racing game where they had like loads of rants. So the original had like Banjo and Kazooie in it, and it had Wreck-It Ralph.
In the Xbox 360 version.
Yes, in the Xbox 360 version. And Wreck-It Ralph and Danica Patrick of all that was very weird. Here you are, racer Danica Patrick next to Sonic the Hedgehog. It's a weird one. But they seem to be going all out with guests at Sega in general, right? I don't know.
I mean, you have to wonder whether it really pays off, like in terms of, if I was a Persona fan, like that was the only game I played and it was like my life or whatever, would Persona character being in that Monkey Ball game bring me in,
I think it does to a point, because I think a lot of people, to bring it to Smash, I guess, like fans of Persona, for example, would go play Smash because Joker was in it. Like, I don't know. People might play.
I think it's also just cool. Like, we don't get it that often anymore. Like, I remember back, like, say PS2, and you have like Ratchet and Clank appearing in Jak and Daxter and the other way around and stuff like that. This was stuff that was like fairly commonplace back then, but now it's I don't know.
Yeah, it seems to be just like limited to fighting games, and even then, like only a few of them seem to do it particularly. Like Smash and I think Tekken 7 does it, and then the other games typically don't tend to have like big crossover guests anyway. They'll have maybe other guests from other games within their series. Like Street Fighter has guests from within Capcom's like stuff, like the Rival Schools character has just come out, I think. But yeah, you're right. I think like we don't typically see a lot of it now, and it is cool to it is cool. Like that's why those Smash like reveal trailers are so loved on YouTube and stuff, is that like, look, I can see the dude from Tekken throw Kirby into a volcano, and Kirby's fine,
And someone's childhood dream finally realized.
Exactly, and that's what it is. Like, and that's what Smash is really. Like, I remember was it the first one or was it Melee that was like about toys? and like they were all just toys in a toy box, and like you would, I guess, play with them. Yeah, Melee. Yeah, and like that's just sort of that's exactly what kids want out of like crossovers. I think. Just I love these characters.
And judging by the views, adults as well. To be fair,
I mean adults. I mean, let's be fair. A lot of adults nowadays just kind of want the stuff that they want as a kid. They want to be happy. Like everyone in our, let's say adults. Like I'm an adult, and adults of my generation typically are just like, look, I want to be happy, and I'm not happy. So when was I happy? Oh yeah, when I was back as a kid and I was playing these cool video games, right?
This is taking a depressing turn.
a depressing term that we usually end up in. Look, I'm just saying this. Look, if I'm halfway through Deathloop and all of a sudden flipping Spyro the Dragon pops up, I'm having a grand old time. I'm putting it out there. I'm just putting it out there.
Don't spoil if Spyro turns up in Deathloop, please.
Sorry, I apologize. Spoilers.
I don't remember like seeing anyone like demanding Spyro be in Smash Brothers, but I do remember like seeing like there was more demand for Crash.
Yeah, there's a lot for Crash.
Smash Brothers, but not Spyro, even though Spyro is kind of like Crash's soul brother.
Yeah, they really are joined together. They had the Game Boy games where they crossed over as well, didn't they? Like Crash Purple and Spyro Orange or something.
Yeah,
right. That you got it.
So they're they're really tied together. It is surprising that Crash is so much more popular in terms of Smash, especially
despite the fact that they were initially created by two different companies. Like Crash was made by Naughty Dog and Spyro was made by Insomniac.
Yeah.
But as the years passed, they got picked up by Activision, and they were being developed by the same studio.
Yeah, I think they are, aren't they?
But then again, like the Crash Insane trilogy was remade from the ground up by Vicarious Visions, which folded, if I remember correctly. And then Spyro was made by Toys for Bob, but then Crash 4 comes along, and it comes out that it was made by Toys for Bob as well, and the character redesigns are like so many chef's kisses. I mean,
they look like Saturday morning cartoon characters. Like I think that's what they like.
Yeah. They were going for like the Tex Avery animation style for the characters, and Tana, I really, really loved her design.
Yeah, me too.
I wouldn't be surprised if they give Spyro that chance at some point, even if they do something like mobile orientated or whatever. Like there's definite money in that.
They need to make a new Spyro game. Like not necessarily in the same game, but they do need to make a new Spyro game. But didn't they say that all Activision studios are now working on Call of Duty?
It seems that way whenever you see the list of studios when you get a trailer or whatever.
I think it's interesting that they never did it. It must be a money thing, right? Because like Crash came out and then they made.
They have hinted that there was gonna be a Spyro 4 in the Crash 4 art book.
Really?
You know, yeah, because everything that Crash does, Spyro does not fall far behind.
Yeah.
Right, and there was even a Spyro floaty in the lake on Insanity Island, for Christ's sake.
Yeah, the beginning of Crash 4. Yeah.
It's interesting because like I missed out on, apart from Crash Team Racing that I think I did play, I missed out on Crash entirely. I think back in the day, and I played a bit of Crash 4 since, and a bit of the Insane Trilogy remaster as well. But Spyro was, on PlayStation 1, Spyro was my guy. Playing that especially with like my sisters and stuff like that. It was a real kind of a moment for sure.
I like
Spyro. Spyro was like an interesting introduction for me. Like when I was 8 years old, I was playing like this Barbie horse riding game, and my brother comes in and he's like, "Oh, like he wanted me to play like this game, this Spyro game that he borrowed from a friend, and it was not Spyro 1, it was Spyro 3 Year of the Dragon, and
that's a classic.
Oh, that is a definite classic. But then, like, the problem with me playing Spyro 3 at the time was I didn't have like a PlayStation 1, I had the PlayStation 2, and I had a PS2 memory card which doesn't save PS1 games. So
Oh no.
like every time I would like play Spyro 3, I would like start from square one.
Oh, that's cutting. That's cutting. Although in a way, that's like all games were at one point.
I mean, true, yeah. I remember. I mean, Sonic used to be like that.
But even so, I enjoyed it so much that I wanted that game for Christmas. But come Christmas Eve, I went over to the friend that my brother borrowed the game from, and his father dressed as Santa Claus, and the Christmas gift I got from him was Spyro 1.
I mean, you can start from the start, I guess. There, I would have gotten you a memory card.
I thought that's where we were going.
Like, here, have a memory card, and then you can play all the Spyro.
I mean, the thing about the PlayStation memory card, and I saw someone mentioning this the other day, but like the little images on the
they were
memory
cool.
card blocks were just completely irrational. You're like, this is so cool, but it doesn't do anything.
I do like that they're there.
Yeah,
it's cool that there was an interface for the memory stuff, I think.
So with the PS2 if you're playing like a PS1 game on the PlayStation 2, like Spyro 1, 2, 3, even, and in my brother's case, Tony Hawk Pro Skater, if you want to get as far as possible in the game without going back to square one, you have to pause the game, turn off the TV, but do not turn off the console at all.
I've done that a few times.
If somebody does, like if you do, you will not be very happy.
No. That sounds awful though. Like, I remember because I always had memory cards, I guess, as a child, which is lucky because we started off with a PlayStation 1.
Look at you boasting.
I know, right? We started out with a PS1, so obviously we had PS1 memory cards. But like I do remember having to play stuff like that at one point. I don't remember why, but it's such a weird. Yeah, it's kind of sad, right? You kind of think, oh, I wish I could have just saved the game. Wish I could have just
I mean, that's what's funny about backwards compatibility now, because now I go back to, I don't know, 360 games on my later versions of Xbox, and then you load it up and it's like, oh yeah, my old gamer picture from like 10 years ago or whatever it is, you know, and other stuff that you get from that kind of interface, because obviously it's just an emulator effectively, isn't it?
And we're still using, I mean, me and Charlie typically are using Game Pass. Like I use Game Pass a lot, and like I haven't changed my gamer picture since I got the Xbox 360. It's just like my old Xbox avatar me thing, just doing a pose.
So the smaller the better. So over time, in 5 years' time, it'll be like a pixel wide.
Yeah, exactly. It'll be terrible.
Yeah, because I didn't do the same as well, and on PS3 as well. So when I started using PS3 and I had like the flower icon as like my user picture, and even now to this day, it's still just that exact same flower.png that it has been.
Do you know the worst thing is?
Sorry, go
on. The worst thing about those is when I signed in on the PS4, I didn't change my picture, but then because it wanted me to log in with Facebook, and I did it. It changed my avatar to a picture of. It changed it from the Ape Escape monkeys to a picture of myself. And now I just look at it and I go,
disappointment
God, it's
for
a
everyone.
picture of myself. That's not good. It is disappointing. Everyone wants the Ape Escape monkeys, not me. Oh, no one needs that.
Surprisingly, I skipped the PlayStation 3 and Xbox 360.
Oh, did you? Was there a reason for that? Did you just think, I don't want to do this, or?
I mean, I think it has something to do with the fact that they were way too expensive.
Yeah.
And to top it off, at the time those consoles came out, I was just like kind of knee deep into into school, like trying to
Sure.
maintain my grades.
That's
but
totally fair.
then
But I mean, plus the PS2 had like ridiculous lifespan and releases anyway, like well into the PS3's life.
Yeah, and good thing too, because when Sonic Unleashed came out, I was fortunate to discover that it was available for the PS2.
Was it?
Albeit it would be the last Sonic game to be released for the PlayStation 2.
Wow, I had no idea it was available on PS2. That's crazy.
The graphics, the graphics for the PS2 version were kind of the same as the Wii version.
Oh, that makes sense.
No Hedgehog engine, no Havoc engine, none of that.
Wow.
Yeah.
I mean, it went all the way. I mean, obviously FIFA is FIFA, but I remember, was it FIFA 14 came out on PS4, PS3, and PS2? Like, that's how long the lifespan of the PS2 was, is that you could still viably release a FIFA game and it'd be worth your money.
Yeah, that's crazy, isn't it? PS2 was massive.
I don't recall exactly because I don't play FIFA at all.
It's fine.
I wish I had. If I was more like more athletically inclined.
I understand.
But no. Like the average lifespan of a console is 7 years.
Yes. Yeah. Sounds about right.
So for the PS2, it lasted from 2000 it would have lasted from 2007 to 2007, like straight.
What was the last PS2 game?
But somehow some games were still being released like 2-3 years like after its lifespan was supposed to end. That's how I managed
huge, wasn't it?
Because they dropped official support, didn't they? They dropped first party support sooner, and then like other stuff that kept coming out for a bit. Yeah.
Yeah, that's how I managed to get Sonic Riders Zero Gravity and Sonic Unleashed.
Cool.
Wow.
I mean, from a retro point of view, the FIFA game to get into is FIFA 99 for sure. That's the pinnacle for me. That's my PS1 and PS1 life for FIFA, beginning the end. That was fine.
Yeah, I'm looking at an article now. The last PlayStation 2 game was Pro Evo 2014 in 2013, November 8th, 2013.
Because I think obviously the PS2 lasted forever, but it was also huge in like markets like Brazil as well, where there was still life support. And obviously, Brazil not exactly not known for football. They do love their football over there, so it makes sense that FIFA and PES were still being released at that time on PS2 because it just lasted so long there.
But PES is gone. It's eFootball now.
Don't depress me,
Charlie. Give us your opinions on eFootball. I want to know because I know you tweeted about it a little bit, and I know that if there's anyone to ask, it's you.
It just man, I don't want it. Okay, so like the rebrand itself, whatever. Like it's just a name. At the end of the day, we can move. Yeah. But they've. How do I explain this? Okay, let me try to get through this without crying. So but they didn't release a full game last year. They released what they called the season update, which was only like 20 quid. And it was slightly upgraded, but by nothing major. And they said, look, we're changing the engine because it was on Fox Engine before. And they're changing it, I think, to Unity. So they were like, look, we're going to concentrate everything on the season after. So this season we are bringing something out, but it's a lot cheaper. Don't expect it to be as big a jump as usual or whatever. And I was like, okay, cool. That's fine. I respect that. I respect it more than, other franchises that get churned out every year despite not really having anything new to say. So I was like, fair enough, whatever. This one comes around and it just looked so. First of all, they released this weird demo.
I remember you talking about the demo.
Called flipping, what was it called? Next Football Game, I think it was called. Which is odd because we all know it's gonna be PES football or whatever, but they released it anyway, and they're saying this is just to test our servers, so nothing is final. Which again, whenever you play a demo or a pre-build, or whatever, they're always gonna say nothing's final. but it was like the worst thing I've played in a long time. I was like, this is so stilted and so slow, and it just made it didn't feel right. And then every time they say anything more about that game, it just gets worse and worse, because they're like, okay, we're releasing it and it's called eFootball, whatever. It's free. And you're like, okay, I sort of see, okay, I get it, but okay. And then they're like, yeah, and you know, we're gonna release it and you're gonna have 8 teams to start with. I think it's 8. And you're like, okay, okay. And every couple of months we're gonna give you a little update with more stuff. And it just carries on. They've shifted its model completely away from where it was, which again, fair enough. If you're Konami and you're looking to try and make as much money as possible in this thing, FIFA has shown the way to do that is by a sort of what Pez was calling My Club, what FIFA calls Ultimate Team, that kind of model. You're playing online, you're buying loot boxes, packs, and you're trying to get whatever. I understand. But at the same time, Pez has this audience where, like, it's not like that doesn't have a market, because obviously it doesn't. People play My Club or whatever, but it's certainly a lot smaller than FIFA's in terms of Ultimate Team is FIFA's game mode now. Everything else is superfluous. We've seen
like
this week.
Isn't it like 25% of EA's total revenue or something insane like that?
It's crazy. It is something like that. It's 100%.
Well, that's FIFA, and then like Ultimate Team is like a significant, like a 40% chunk of all FIFA revenue.
Yeah, and like me, who comes from like Adam knows, and YouTube won't, but like I do loads of stuff to do with football, like a football channel and everything else. And everyone I know plays Ultimate Team. Every single person I know plays Ultimate Team.
Wow.
They don't play the other game modes. Like 1 or 2 might play it for a little while, but mostly they all play Ultimate Team. And I understand that's where you want to go. If you're Konami, you're like, right, that's making so much money. We've tried to capitalize on it by making it a game mode, but there's still that initial jump in of buying Pez. Because Pez has such a weird reputation amongst FIFA fans, and it's just because it doesn't have the licenses, which is incredibly infuriating. Because, you know,
but sometimes like 1 or 2.
Well, yeah, they're great licenses though. You know what I mean?
It's funny though, isn't it? I almost think it would be. I haven't followed it closely for a time, but like I almost feel like it would be cleaner if they didn't have any teams. To have just like 1 or 2 teams that sometimes it just it highlights that they haven't got the other teams, and it seems really odd.
That's fair,
yeah, and like they've gotten better. Like they've consistently got new licenses the last couple of, like, say the last 5-6 years. They've been getting more and more, to the extent of now, like the Premier League, they don't have the licenses, but the team names are still the real life team names, but with a letter at the end of it, which I don't get how they're getting away with that.
What do you mean with a letter at the end of it?
So like Arsenal's a bad example because Arsenal's in the game. For example, right, West Ham's a good example, right?
Okay.
West Ham are called West Ham RB. Or you'll have.
What does that mean? Why?
It's the colours of the kit. So it says red, blue. I mean, it's claret and blue, but we'll move on. Red, blue. So like it'll be West Ham RB for some reason, and somehow they can get away with that. I don't understand quite how, but all of the clubs are like that now.
What? That's so strange.
Apart from the official licenses. Chelsea B, blue. Like, why? I don't know. But
Chelsea B sounds like a great rapper name.
It's all one of the Spice Girls or something. I'm big into it. But yeah, so the gameplay looks exactly like it did, like from the gameplay. So I haven't played anything more past their demo, obviously. It's coming out at the 30th of September.
That's close.
It is close.
That's topical. We've done it. We found a topical thing.
No.
Dangerous. Or a bit early.
Better
I suspect when it is topical, it will just be me crying. But I'm going to try it. We'll see what happens. But the gameplay does look extraordinarily similar to how it did in that demo, which I didn't enjoy at all. And that's the worst part about it. Is for me, PES versus FIFA. FIFA is incredibly good apart from on the pitch, which is where it matters. It's like saying... It's like, oh my god, this shooting game is incredible apart from when you actually pull the trigger and it's trash. It's that kind of like level of madness, right? So like FIFA is great, but the gameplay mechanics on the pitch just weren't there. PES is the opposite. Like everything off the field is a bit janky and like very, I don't know, it's just not good. But on the field, it was always incredible compared to FIFA, especially compared to FIFA, but in general it was incredible, and that's what drew me over there. I was playing FIFA every year until 2015. I think was the first PES I bought again since the PS2, And I was like, oh, wait, hang on, this is good. And it's because Steve Burns at Video Gamer kept going on about it. So I ended up buying it and playing it. And I was like, oh, this is really good. And since then, I haven't bought a FIFA until last year. And that was just to play with my friends. And now they've destroyed the gameplay on the pitch. And the bit off the pitch seems even worse. And I don't get it. I don't get it. And everything they release about it just seems so stupid. Like today, not today, it was like 2 days ago. I saw Video Games Chronicle put out a piece, which then ended up going everywhere. They're already selling loot boxes on the store for the PES game that isn't out until the 30th.
What?
And you can't even redeem the loot boxes until November. But you can pre-order them if you want.
Oh man!
And they're like 40 quid. So
I mean, that's worrying. That's pretty worrying, isn't it? I mean,
oh my God.
not so much for. I mean, I do appreciate your plight, but not so much for us. But when you're talking about the kids, you know, in terms of that people's wallets or parents' wallets, I guess it will be.
And even certain certain adults, like I have one of my closest friends who who was struggling with a gambling addiction, then ended up becoming addicted to buying loot boxes in FIFA, and like to this day still kind of struggles with it. And it's frustrating that like this is the way they're going when they had such a cool game that it must have been making their money back, because obviously they wouldn't have keep making it, but they, I guess, well.
But Konami don't seem. I mean, in general, anyway. I can't speak to the PES side of things that specifically, but Konami don't seem that interested in releasing games en masse. They really focus on, you know, PES and what they can they can make out of like the Resident Evil. Don't know where that came from.
Nope.
Out of the what was I going to say? Metal Gear Solid licensing for their.
I mean, they're all pachinko machines now, aren't they? Like they don't make video games anymore, apart from I guess this eFootball. Like I don't know what Konami has actually made since the whole big, the bust up with Kojima, basically.
So, but they seem to be getting slightly more into it. Like there's been rumblings of them sort of looking for people to revive old franchises and whatnot, and I know there's the eternal rumors about a Silent Hill game existing somewhere, be it Blooper Team or otherwise. There's this.
They do the Yu-Gi-Oh stuff as well, don't they?
Yes.
That's also ongoing.
They seem to be slightly more interested now than they were, but it does seem bizarre to me that a company who have so many licenses, so many IPs that are beloved from yesteryear, to not be just milking that to all heck in the era of the nostalgia. Like,
well, I guess they are, but that's the pachinko machines ultimately, isn't it? Like that's making them the money, but it's not that we're not the audience for that, I suppose. But you're right. Like they are one of the few last kind of bastions of that original game. You know, whatever gen that would officially be era. You know.
I guess they're still doing arcade stuff. Like I'm looking at the list of Konami stuff now. And they still do arcade stuff. Like I noticed I do recognize some of these. There's a game called Jubeat there that I played an arcade. That's a music game. There's lots of music games actually. Some baseball stuff, some mahjong stuff, but like none of it is. There's
that
no
up and coming new game mahjong.
Yes, there's no console stuff. Like there's not even really PES.
I pronounce it mahjong.
Mahjong. I'm saying mahjong.
Mahjong. We're British, so everything has a hard R, regardless of how accurate that is for some reason.
It's never accurate, but because we're English, we can't say words.
If you watch Kung Fu Panda, you'll hear Hang say mahjong.
I've never seen Kung Fu. Have you? You guys have seen Kung Fu Panda, right? I've never seen it.
I have never seen Kung Fu Panda. This is my greatest, deepest, darkest secret.
Deepest, darkest secret. No, yeah, I've not seen it either. Have you seen it, Charlie?
You'd suspect it's the sort of thing I would see.
Yeah, it is the sort of thing.
I'm terrible at watching.
You never watch anything, but I imagine Kung Fu Panda would have been one of the things you did just randomly see at some point.
It is the sort of thing I would. It's on the list. I can tell you that it's high up on the list, but
I am on the list.
Terrible. But I'm terrible. So.
Do you have a list?
I do actually have a list, yeah.
You have Hulu in the UK, but
we do, yeah.
I
think so. I think so.
Do we?
On Hulu, and for some reason it's not there.
Hulu. UK. I'm sure we have Hulu in the UK.
I want to say Kung Fu Panda's on UK Netflix. You know, I feel like I've seen its title.
I'm sure it has been.
recently.
I'm sure it has been. Yeah.
Maybe
Even if it isn't now.
Maybe it is. Netflix
like
is
it's on-
weird, right?
If it's on Netflix.
Netflix is weird because like there are things on Netflix in the UK that won't be on Netflix anywhere else in the world. But they're not even like small British things. They'll be like big films and stuff. Like certain big films are only unique to certain areas of the world. I find that very strange.
I mean, I kind of like it when it's beneficial to me. Obviously,
It's
it's
never beneficial though. I mean, it is that you've got it. Nobody else does is not beneficial to you, but you having it is beneficial. But
if you think about it from in terms of,
you're welcome.
yeah, because
Sorry,
there's
what
some.
Sorry, what was that, Christina?
That was me.
What did you say? Sorry, I couldn't hear you.
I said Kung Fu Panda is on Netflix.
It is on Netflix.
You're welcome.
There we go.
And the weirdest thing is that they only have Kung Fu Panda 1 and 2, but not 3.
That's where the money is.
That's weird.
The DreamWorks said no. You can't have that one.
They're holding out for that big deal.
Yeah.
But that's what I mean. I reckon some countries do have it.
They might have done series. They've done DreamWorks series on other things, haven't they? I think Netflix. They've done like animated. There's a How to Train Your Dragon one, isn't there? Maybe that isn't DreamWorks.
So, yeah.
Anyway.
And they have How to Train Your Dragon. And if I remember correctly, Netflix extended their deal with DreamWorks to add more animated films to their library.
You might get that Kung Fu Panda 3. I can't even speak. There we go.
You're probably pronouncing it wrong.
I am always pronouncing things wrong. This goes with, as you may have noticed, I'm Northern. I know that there are a variety of accents on display on this podcast right now, but I am not. In fact, this is a question for Cristina. Can you tell the difference between the three of our accents?
They all sound the same to me.
This is what I wanted to know, because like,
I mean, I'm not sure which one of you has a Cockney accent.
I mean, I'm probably the closest.
You're definitely the closest, Charlie. Yeah.
Probably the closest there. Yeah. I'll take that L. That was me. Hello.
Can you tell the difference between me and Charlie, for example?
All right, Charlie, speak.
Okay. I'm going to watch Kung Fu Panda. I'm quite excited. It seems like the sort of thing I would really like, but I'm just terrible at watching things legendarily. So.
It sounds like you're having issues.
This is a real cognitive test there. I like how invested you are.
Yes, I love like figuring things out, even if it takes me like longer than most people to crack it.
Of course.
Well, no,
because
it's a very
it's a brain teaser for me.
Well, the reason like I ask is because
telling accents apart.
It's different, isn't it? It's difficult. But like the reason I ask is because I feel like, or I hear a lot of American people find it difficult to tell the difference between a British accent, an English accent, even, or like even sometimes a Scottish accent or a Welsh accent. And to us, England has quite. So I would say that the three of us have quite distinct accents. Like, I think we all sound quite different, but I think
we're hitting some quintessential English archetypes.
Yeah. But
at the same time, would you be able to tell the difference between East Coast, West Coast, South and North American?
Well, I don't know, but like
specifically,
I can definitely tell when there's. But obviously, I know sort of like vague accents. I definitely wouldn't be able to tell you where they are. But I'd probably be able to, because I can tell the difference between like for example, Christina's accent and then someone who would live in like Texas. You know, I could definitely tell the difference.
I have Spanish, Portuguese, and Irish and American in my gene pool. Right?
That's really cool. I feel like by comparison, I'm like I'm very bland.
I'm white bread. Yeah, I don't know anything. I think I don't know. I haven't actually checked. To be fair, I don't know what's in my gene pool. But...
I don't really know what kind of accent I would have because I don't speak Spanish as much as my mother would think is ideal. Neither and my grandmother would think is ideal. But when I do speak it, yo hablo español muy poquito.
Muy bien.
Taking like 2 years of Spanish in high school and in college.
That's fair. Yeah, I can't really speak any. I can speak bits of other languages, but not Spanish, which is weird. I feel like we should. So, did you guys get the option to learn Spanish in school? Because I didn't get the option to learn Spanish in school. It was only French or German.
No, I didn't get the option to do Spanish, and I got the option to do French and German, which I chose both of, and I also chose Latin.
Oh, Latin as well.
Oh,
that's
someone went to Catholic school.
Well, you think so? I went to like vaguely Harry Potter school. It's like, you know, house points and
we had house points as well, to be fair, but I don't think that's like so odd. House points? Is house points weird though? Did you had house points, Charlie, right?
No, we just had we just had exclusions and stabbings in London. There wasn't much else going on.
Wow, you're really playing the Cockney card very strongly.
It's not even playing the card. That's the most depressing thing. That's just true. But we didn't have those. And we also didn't have the option. We got divided 50-50 into French and Spanish.
I mean, to be fair, we got divided into French and German. We didn't specifically
get the choice.
Yeah, we didn't specifically have the choice in secondary school.
So I guess part of the reason for the Harry Potter comparison is that the school in question
you had to walk through a train station and through
if only the school in question has the following: was founded originally in 1125.
Okay.
Has a like literal turret.
A turret
going on.
Nice.
Which including rumors of a ghost in said tower from a boarding child who was killed in years gone by, and most interestingly that I have not seen firsthand, but in depth, but I've seen kind of evidence of a series of underground tunnels between the main building and the music school at the end of the field at the bottom.
Oh,
nice.
That's super interesting.
Because my school, the secondary that I went to, was like really nice. It was an all boys school, and it was really nice up until about 10-15 years before I went there, when like it changed like hands a bunch of times, and because it was on the border of boroughs, neither of them fully were backing it or funding it. So it just didn't have the money, and then it got taken over a bunch of different times, and then got put into disrepute to the extent where there was literally, the year before I went there was literally a Channel 4 documentary about how bad it was. And so when I went there, everyone was like, why'd you do that? By the time I left, I'm saying this is purely down to my academic genius, it was the best school in the borough. But when I went there, it was very, very bad. Police officers, the whole shebang when you walk in, it was great.
Were there fights frequently?
Oh yeah. Every day.
I would say there were fights
every break,
well. Yeah.
in classes, out of classes. It was.
Do you not have to typically deal with fights in America or in where you went to school? I assume
a lot of school fights in America, and now more recently there are like kids videotaping themselves on TikTok, stealing and damaging school property.
Oh, I've heard about this.
Called the Devious Lick.
Oh no!
It's called Devious Lick. And when I saw this, and I'm like, oh my god, this better not be happening in any of the schools that I went to. Like, because, like, there was, like, I saw this picture of a toilet, like, a whole toilet just, like, lifted out of a stall and just, like, and they just, like, put it right in the middle of, like, of the restroom, and I'm like,
how?
Who has the strength to lift the toilet
That's got to be some serious premeditation. That's not something you think of on a whim, is it?
15-year-old in their lunch break could lift a toilet and just move it? But that's so crazy.
One that you don't want to annoy.
Oh yeah, I just went and got chips. I just went and got the worst thing that happened at mine, Adam. I'm sure I've told you this story, but our school got into beef with the school just up the road from ours, a different secondary school, to the point where the year 11, so the last year of secondary, we're going and having like fights in parks like every single day.
Yeah.
And like a huge gang of the year 11s from the other school started threatening that they were going to come to ours because their school ended 15 minutes before ours. So by 15 minutes, they could walk to our school before it ended.
Oh,
and so they started saying that they were going to come and just stab pupils as they were leaving.
Oh, God.
But to the extent, which sounds like bluster, but it's scared. And this is the bonus point. This is the silver lining. It sounds like bluster, but the teachers were so legitimately concerned by this that every Friday they ended school an hour early just so they couldn't get here before we could, and so we just got Friday afternoons off practically, which was beautiful.
I mean, like, I'll be fair. Yeah. Like, fair plays to the teachers who genuinely should have been worried that like their pupils are being threatened with knives. Like, totally fair play.
I mean, this is especially annoying for me to hear because not only did I not finish early on Friday, I had to go to school on Saturday mornings for the first 3 years.
Oh my what?
God.
Yep.
That's how Harry Potter is. You were at a boarding school, right?
Yeah, essentially. Well, no, genuinely, there were boarders. Like, I wasn't a boarder, but there were a minority, let's say, but certainly a kind of of the four houses. Of the four houses, one of those four, they did live on the premises, and we were as day boys, we were banned from going into that area of the school. It was like this kind of mysterious West Wing. Ooh, you know.
That sounds
very
weird.
It is pretty weird. I mean, I think going back to the all boys school thing, I think that was probably the biggest social development impact for me overall. I think that's had a huge impact on how kind of socially comfortable I was going through teenage, especially leaving school and going to uni and that next stage.
Talking to females. That meant that.
Yeah, well, I mean, it's not just so much even that, but just being calm enough and comfortable enough to just have a normal conversation with people, because it's just such an unknown and everything.
Isn't that bad? I'd never considered it, but that's only because I went to a mixed school, so I have no reference for what it feels like to go to an all boy or an all girl school or anything like that. But like, is it really that bad? Like,
it really was weird.
It does. I mean, it depends on the person. Like, you think about how people obviously vary in terms of their level of sociability. Like, I think if you are already someone who's naturally very, especially if you've got a load, I don't know, say you've got a load of sisters or whatever, or or older sisters especially, because I was the oldest child, or I still am, obviously, the eldest child. So I didn't have any frame of reference for teenage girls, basically, because obviously I was the eldest. So there was that just didn't happen until 3/4 of the way through secondary school. I think I was just really not on speaking terms with any of this entire section of the population in the place where I went to school. It's very odd.
It's not the same for you, Charlie, as well.
Yeah, so there was an all-girls school that was round the corner that we weren't officially twinned with, but like we did a lot of the same events and stuff like that, and like everyone knew each other from both schools, kind of thing. Not least because our school was at the bus. When you get on the bus, it's one stop, then all the girls get on, so whatever. But so it wasn't bad for me personally, but like, because I just knew people around, like some of my best friends from the estate I lived on were girls and whatever. But like, I know there was some people who I went to school with, secondary, who when they ended up going to sixth form, and all of a sudden they found it really jarring, like really, really weird for a hot minute, for a while. And it's
for
weird.
me,
I never thought about either until they said it, and I was like, that makes perfect sense though.
Yeah, because it was all boys all the way up through and including sixth form as well. So that's like a whole chunk of time.
That's crazy. This must sound really alien to you, Cristina. Just I assume, do they have all boy and all girls schools in America? I assume so, but
they do have all boys, all girls schools, but the only ones I've heard of are like they're like more parochial schools. In other words, like religious schools.
Yeah.
Religious schools, private schools that are not like religious. But I've heard of some boarding schools, but my cousin, she went to an all girls school, an all girls Catholic school in New York.
Oh wow.
Right. And I wanted to like go to an all girls school in like 8th grade just to kind of get away from some of the boys that were like bullying me at the time.
Yeah.
But
that's tough.
And that didn't pan out. I mean, private schools in America, they're really freaking expensive.
They're expensive here as well, I think. I wouldn't know. Never even looked into them. But like
you'd think the school that I was describing was private, but actually it wasn't. Although you did have to take a entrance exam to get in, so it's as close to being private as you could get without actually being a private school. It's very odd.
Wow. Yeah, sounds
from what you're describing, like the rules at the schools you've attended are pretty strict.
It sounds it, doesn't it? Like I've never. I went to just like a random school. Like it was a religious school, but I.
You say that like you went to a different school like each week.
Yeah, that's what happened. Yeah.
I went to a random school.
Just turned up, sat down, and...
Yeah, but there are like some like boarding schools and that are co-ed, but for religious schools especially, like they are co-ed, but if you're like a female student, if they catch you pregnant, then you would get expelled.
I don't know how that works in England, and I don't know how that works because I don't remember anyone from my school being pregnant. There may have been someone, but I don't think they would have gotten expelled. That sounds really harsh.
And unsurprisingly, none of the people in my all-boys school were pregnant.
They may have been. You never knew.
There was definitely similar to what you were saying. There was a twinned school for us, and another one reasonably close by as well. And there was I don't know. I presume it was true, but it might have just been a rumor that there was someone who was pregnant in sixth form.
Yeah,
but I don't know. But yeah, I can't imagine them being expelled. Possibly like suspended for their own personal health.
I mean, yeah, like it's not like I find that really harsh because like unless they did it in school, which I mean, you know, that's another thing. Like it's not really school's matter, is it? You know, it's nothing to do with this. I don't think it's anything to do with the school.
I guess because they have a duty of care when you're at the school that can affect your health. So they are not. It's not their business, but they are liable for if something happens to you.
Yeah, I guess so. It's a very weird situation to be in, I guess. Although like teenage pregnancy is normal. Like I think it happens.
I feel highly unqualified to comment on being a teenager or being pregnant.
By normal, I mean it happens, and it's not that uncommon. I don't mean it's like something happens every day, whatever. But like, yeah, I don't think it happened. I don't remember it happening in my school, particularly. But then I didn't know that many people in my school, so I think they all waited until like the day they left school and then started having children. Like
they held on.
Yeah, like all I know is like, if you would have asked me like what everyone at my school was doing when I went to university or when I was in college, for example, I think I would have said most of them already have children, like a year or two after they finish school.
To be fair, I still find it. I'm 27. I had to think about that. I'm 27 now, and I still find it weird where the very rare occasions I log onto Facebook to message my mum or whatever, and I see like someone from my secondary school has a kid now. I still find that immensely odd.
I do find it like so people are getting married for like my people, like
same.
they're getting married, and I'm like, what? What do you mean you're married? How did that work?
Yeah,
Getting engaged, getting married, having kids, buying homes of their own.
Oh, buying homes is the worst.
Do you know what I mean? I struggle flipping buying the shopping in. I can't be doing any of that.
I know.
And it's like I see like some of my friends on my Instagram feed posting photos and videos of their babies, and I'm like, oh my god, they are so cute. But at like the same time, it just makes me feel like, when will I ever have kids?
I mean, to put it into some perspective, a friend, I live with my girlfriend, and a friend of ours came over today, and we were going out for a walk. We were going out to the park, and we were gonna bring my girlfriend's parents' dog, because we were like, yeah, that's cool, because like, what the dog and whatever, and the dog's excitable as all hell, so it's just funny to watch sprint around or whatever. But the reason the three of us didn't end up taking a dog is because none of us decided. We all sort of jointly went, none of us want to pick up the poop if it happens. So let's just leave the dog here and just go anyway. And so that's the level of responsibility we're talking. So let alone babies, home ownership, any of that, not happening. No responsibility whatsoever, you know?
Ownership is hard for our generation.
Yeah, very true.
Us being millennials. But like as far as kids go, I mean my boyfriend and I mean, I just kind of want us to be, dinks. Dual income, no kids.
Oh, okay.
Fair enough.
Sure, I didn't know what that was.
Fine, that's the important thing is to reiterate. Like, no one should feel like they have to tick off any of these life boxes, especially, the way that there are more options for home ownership or rental or whatever these days as well. Like, no one should feel, oh, I have to do this, otherwise I'm behind, or what. That sort of thing can be really dangerous.
And it's real hard now as well. Like, we don't talk about how price. Yeah, we don't talk about how like house prices have gone up like 1,000,000% since when your parents first got a house. We don't talk about how difficult like earning money is, like, and
not to mention the student loan debt that some of us are buried under.
Yeah. I mean, you don't need to tell me about that. Yeah.
I graduated from college with no debt whatsoever because I got help from not only like financial aid, but also Woke Rehab, which is a program for adult students with disabilities like myself, because I'm autistic.
Sure.
Yeah.
I mean, it's great that support's been available. Like, that must have made such a huge difference to your experience over, to come out of that and not have that weight on your shoulders.
Right.
And then you want to talk about house prices.
On the other hand, he got a master's in from PA school, and I don't know how much debt he has to pay off. How much student loan debt to pay off he has to pay off.
There's a lot. Like, I've been pretty lucky. I mean, the fact that I've been to and flunked out of university twice. I didn't say flunked out, but I left twice as well. Like, I have loads of student loan debt, but I've not paid that much of it back. I remember working in a bar and paying like £1 out of my wage towards my student loan, because I was earning just about enough to pay £1 a month towards my student loan debt. Like,
it certainly gets to a point where it's an amount of money that is just beyond beyond comprehension in real terms. You're just like, it's just there.
It's just like, I don't think I'll ever earn enough money to cover the entirety of and I let's say I've spent 3 years at university at this point. Which is normal. I don't think I would ever. I might in some future, but like, I don't think I will make enough money in the next like 10-20 years to cover the entirety of my student loan. Like, I think that's just not a thing that's ever going to happen. Like, it may do towards the end of my life have like this point where I start paying off student loan debts, but like, I genuinely don't think that it's going to be. I'm going to go like to a point where I'm retire and I'm still going to have student loan debts. And there's just not going to be anything.
But they say that, when you hear from like, money saving expert or whatever, they always say, oh, don't don't pay it off, because in 25 years it gets written off anyway, and it's just not worth it, you know.
My old lecturer
focus on it.
in college, my old media teacher in college, she said that the best thing for you to do after you finish uni is to move to Spain for 30 years and work there, because then when you come back you won't have any student loan debt.
It's also just a vibey place, you know.
Is that the best way to do things?
It's quite sunny, you know. It's quite sunny, and yeah. Although you can't speak Spanish because you weren't allowed to learn it at school.
Yeah, you can't. I still find that very odd, considering Spanish is one of the most spoken languages. I think I've spoken about this with Charlie before, but I think that the languages that we are made to speak in school in England are bizarre, because they're not the most commonly used languages in England, which turn out to be like some form of Arabic, like Punjabi or Urdu or something like that, or Bengali, and it's not Polish, which is also one of the most spoken languages in the UK. It happens to be French and German.
It's because the status quo is too slow to pick up on that. Like that's only been the case in
But also French and German isn't that widely spoken either.
Well, no, but like that it's all about like the reason that those languages exist in schools is because the people who set the curriculum learnt them at school, and so forth back and back and back. And because at a certain point we like claimed France as our own or whatever, and so therefore we have that ownership, quote unquote, of it for all eternity.
I always just think, like, why don't we learn like Chinese, which is a massive, like, even when I was young, like even before then, Chinese was one of the most spoken languages in the world. Why didn't we try and learn Chinese in school? Why didn't we learn like Spanish, which I know Charlie had the option, well, not the option, but Charlie could have learned Spanish in school, but like
it's definitely a cultural thing, as from my perspective, it seems anyway. I think that there's
definitely a cultural issue. Like they say, like Mandarin Chinese is the language of the future. Even Mr. Peabody said it in Mr. Peabody and Sherman, but somehow not a lot of like schools give the option to, not a lot of public schools anyway, give, like K-12 schools in America, that none of them give the option to learn Chinese or even Japanese. Like learn either Spanish, German.
Spanish is huge. Spanish is huge, especially in America. Spanish is huge. Like,
yeah, Spanish is huge because you got people like coming in from Mexico, from Cuba, especially in like South Florida, like the Miami-Dade area and Broward County area where I live.
Like, Spanish is so important for Americans, I think.
Like the Dominican Republic, Puerto Rico.
But I think the fact that it is so ubiquitous was one of the reasons that I decided, well, not learning it proper, but I've done, a kind of couple of years worth of Duolingo on it recently, and kind of just finished up recently to take a bit of a break, to be honest. But like that is certainly a method for learning some stuff. It's no substitute for proper learning, obviously.
No,
but
I mean, I went to uni and I started learning Japanese. Solely, but actually, I started learning Japanese not because I'm a massive weeb, but because I wanted to use it for games journalism and stuff like that, and for interviewing Japanese developers, because I felt like for this type of job, for me, I feel like Japanese is the second most important language, because then you can cover both sides of the industry in terms of the West and the East, I suppose. But like
when you interview like Japanese game developers, don't they sometimes have like translators accompany them?
I assume they would. I've never been in the situation to do that, but I always thought that it would be one, better for our reputation in terms of with the developer, but two, just better to have a natural flow in terms of a discussion, because I feel like, well, what I think an interview is essentially is just a discussion, and yeah, I'm asking questions, but we're bouncing off each other to get the natural flow, and it's so much easier to do that if you both speak the same language than it is to talk at an interpreter who then talks at, I feel like the flow and the pace of that interview kind of is thrown off somewhat, I guess.
Yeah,
And I
I
think
asked that because, like during the Square Enix showcase, like during E3 or I forgot if it was during E3 or D23, like when they were showing off Kingdom Hearts 3.
Oh,
Like
yeah.
Tetsuya Nomura would come on stage and he would bring his his translator along with him, and whenever someone asks a question in English, the translator asks the same question in Japanese. He gives a response and then the translator translates it into English.
Yeah, it does. It does happen. I just feel like it. I don't know. I also feel like it's kind of more respectful as well in a way. I know not everyone can speak. I don't think that it's disrespectful to not know Japanese. But like if you're speaking to someone, I would like to. It's just I don't know. I guess it's just like a personal hang up sort of thing.
It's making an effort, isn't it? That's
it's
what
making an
it's
effort.
a similar thing to the reputation of Brits abroad is not good because often British people just don't make any effort and just shout loudly at people in English and expect it to suddenly make sense,
That's exactly.
And that's why I think that you've got exactly the right attitude, like putting the effort in to try and kind of come towards that gap. But equally, I think it's incredible how many people who don't have English as their first language know not just English and their first language, but multiple other languages to fluency. And I think that that's something that, hopefully in the kind of, the decades to come in the UK, that will be more common as well.
It's from what I've seen, I know some people that speak multiple languages whose original language wasn't English. Like it's sort of like a snowball effect kind of thing. Like you learn English. So I know this girl who's like Polish and she knows German already, and then like she's learned English because she has to learn English because everyone has to learn English, and then all like other stuff like Japanese or whatever because of hobbies and stuff. Like it just sort of is a you know like so many languages already. Like you already know 3 languages because you know Polish and German because they're both widely spoken in Poland. You know English because you have to learn English, and then like that's 3 languages that you are already fluent in, which is crazy considering I was brought up in England. I've never left. I have left England, but like not for long enough to be entrenched in a language. I've learned bits of other languages, and I only really know like English, which is sad. I know Welsh people know Welsh. But...
That was the interesting thing about learning Latin, actually, because there is, although it's not spoken, obviously, there is a lot of linkages through both. I mean, there are obviously Latin phrases in English that that you'd have heard of, etc., and all that sort of thing. But it's more common that you're seeing the kind of roots of a lot of languages, especially Italian, as you might imagine, but also other things. And I think the amount of learning around the structure of languages meant that actually when I came to being introduced to Spanish, because as we said, hadn't introduced myself to it at all, introduced myself to it, and actually I was like, oh yeah, some of these rules and some of these functions and types of word and all this sort of stuff were making more sense because I knew that kind of background to it almost. And I think that definitely was a big help. And that it also means that I kind of understand more in languages that I don't speak just by the kind of the nature of them and their structure, which is quite interesting.
That's fair. Yeah, and I've heard Spanish is pretty similar to Italian in a lot of ways as well.
Yep.
Yeah, that's the thing that people say.
That's correct.
Does that mean you can speak Italian as well?
I mean, I always thought that Spanish, well, actually, I always thought that French was similar to Spanish as well, but only slightly. Because French did not derive from Latin, it derived from Creole.
Yeah.
Haitian Creole.
Oh, really? That's interesting. There we go. You learn new things every day on the Sometimes Video Games podcast. I think that's about it for today. Thank you very much, everyone who's been joining us along and listening to us. Thank you very much, James and Cristina, for joining us as well. James, Cristina, is there anything that you guys want to shout out or shout out to the world? Let anyone know what is it you are doing. Where can people find you in the future if they want to find you? Give you a follow.
Okay, so I write for The Gamer and Game Per, and I hope to write for more outlets in the near future because I'm trying to break into full-time freelance journalism. So you can find me on those websites for now, and you can follow me on Twitter at Sonic Princess 15.
Wonderful. James?
Pass the controller, passthecontroller.co.uk. We do a weekly, roughly anyway, weekly team talk feature, which is sort of us chatting about a recent topic in video game news or whatever. So look out for that on there. And Twitter, you can find me James_Parry. And if you don't know what an underscore is, it's that line thing. I know no one uses them anymore, but that's how old I am.
It's the line that goes on the bottom of the line and not in the middle.
Hey, there you go.
True. Charlie, where can we find you? What are you doing?
Just having a sit, really. Yeah, you can find me on Twitter at atoplad. If you're into football, I've got a football stream tomorrow. It's going to be depressing. Come get West Ham versus Manchester United.
Beautiful.
West Ham are going to get absolutely battered by your boy Cristiano Ronaldo. It's going to be a sad time for me specifically. But if you want to watch me cry, come get involved with that. But yeah, at atoplad on Twitter. Outside of that, once this flipping music video is done, I might actually have other stuff to talk about. But until then, just that Twitter, just my sad tweets, unfortunately.
And you can find me at Hurd and Noise on Twitter, Facebook. I think that's what I am on Instagram as well. I don't know. You can probably find me on there somewhere. I haven't been doing much else. I've got some stuff in the pipeline actually. We've got some stuff that are coming today. The last couple of days that it's gonna go down. It's gonna be good. You can also follow us on Sometimes Videogames at Sometimes VG on some places, Twitter, Facebook. We're also on Instagram, Sometimes Videogames. Give us a follow on Twitter if you haven't, Twitch already if you haven't, which is good fun. We are back tomorrow night at I believe 8:30 for some community GeoGuessr stream. You can come play some GeoGuessr with us. Where are we? Don't know. We'll never know.
Probably Watford. Always Watford.
Always
Forever Watford.
Forever Watford. But until then, thank you very much for watching and listening. And anything else you seem to do, you can find us on Spotify as well. That Apple Podcasts. That's the thing that we're on. So yeah, thank you very much. Have a nice evening, afternoon, or morning, whatever time it is that you are. Goodbye. Bye.
Bye.
Bye.